I started stand-up comedy when I saw local comedian Herman Nasworth. You know Herman, right? Yeah. I had only done comedy opening for like friends' bands and weird house shows and just for friends. And then I went to see at the original Underbelly. Herman was the middle act between two bands, and he was like bombing. He was bombing his heart out. And he was doing that, he did that like Eddie Murphy impression he does, and it got nothing. And he leaves the stage like steaming. He's so upset. But he was the first comic I ever saw. And I'd always wanted to do it. I always loved it. And I was like, I didn't think you could do it in Jacksonville. I started in Jacksonville. I thought stand-up comedy was something like celebrities did when they go on late night television. I didn't think you like became a stand-up comic and got on late night. I thought it was just like a thing actors did. So I'm seeing Herman do it, and I was like, wait, you can do this in Jacksonville? I gotta talk to this guy. And Herman had just had like a set he would like to forget. He was very upset. And I went up to him and I was like, man, that was amazing. And like, I can't believe, like, what's your name? And he was like, dude, get away from me. I don't know who you are. Get away from me. Because he thought I was being like condescending. He thought I was being like inauthentic. I was literally like in awe of him and the only person laughing the entire time. And he goes, seriously, please leave. And I was like, no, you got to tell me where you do this. And then he told me about Ginger's, the beach. And then I was there every Tuesday for the entire time I was in Jacksonville. I was at that show. And then I started doing other stuff, but I just always wanted to do it. There's a really pretentious quote that Keith, I'm trying to get the credits right. It was that the Rolling Stones said about, oh, thank you. Sorry, said about Bo Diddley. The Rolling Stones, the first time they heard Bo Diddley, the first time they heard him play rock and roll, they said that their life went from black and white to Technicolor. And that's like what it felt like when I did stand-up. Like, I'm not going to say any better than that, but it was like, oh, this is like a purpose I did not previously have. Like, this is such a rush, and like, when this goes well, I like feel as good as I ever could. And then when it goes poorly, it's like I feel awful, and I never felt that like spectrum of emotion before. So it's just such a rush to be that open emotional. I'm not a big fan of any of the half hours that come out of New York. I'm really excited to see Tim Dillon's half hour. My buddy Casey, James Salingo, is one of my favorite comedians, and he's also like one of my good friends, so nice. But he had a half hour that just came out. He was in the newest batch of half hours, and then he also released, at the same time, released a record, and it's Casey, James Salingo. Oh boy, what's Casey's record name? I don't even know. It's Casey, James Salingo. It's fantastic. It's a great record. I was at the taping, and it's just so funny from start to finish. And it reminds me of like when I started comedy, my favorite record was Dave Attell's Skanks for the Memories. Because it's just so fun. It's such a fun record. Like, it's funny, like the bits are good. But more than that, it's just really fun. You could tell he's like, he doesn't crush, he just does well, and like kind of has to deal with some stuff. It's just such a great comedy record. I mean, I was a huge fan of Chappelle's show. I think that's the pinnacle for me. I like all the Key and Peele stuff. I like that Key and Peele are kind of unapologetically like into sports, which like I feel like comedy for like a long time had like a separation between sports and comedy. It was like comedy was kind of for nerds, like Jack said, but like I like that they like are doing really funny stuff about sports. Like, there's nothing funnier than like the players announcing their names and they get more and more fame. Like, that's the funniest sketch. The East-West Bowl sketch, that's so funny. So I love that. But yeah, I mean, Chappelle's show was something I would like look forward to all week in high school and watch that. Be blown away every week. And I watched Seinfeld a lot growing up. Sitcoms Seinfeld's a good one. I was a huge fan of The Office. Huge fan of The Office, still am. Trailer Park Boys, if that qualifies, that qualifies. Trailer Park Boys is incredible. I think that's some of the best comedy writing anyone's ever written. My favorite movie growing up was Office Space, and I feel like I saw Office Space way too early. Like, I feel like that's a movie you should not be exposed to at a young age, because it just kind of fills you with this like jaded nihilism that you haven't earned. So I was just this like jaded kid that was like, you know what? Yeah, you don't need to work. Just be, zen. And it's like you haven't hit. You're not over the hill. You've never left. So I've always been very like, I don't know, calm. I think I owe that to seeing Office Space way too early. We've been on tour. I've been on tour with my buddy Joel we've been out for about 3 weeks now, and just hearing what people are fans of on the road, or a couple of my friends in New York, all the Cum Boys from Cumtown, like they're friends of mine, and I kind of had no idea how popular that podcast was until I got out here in the road, and people are like, "Oh, you know them?" So like, any show with them is going to be bananas. And then my friend Tim Dillon, who's an incredible comedian, people are like so excited about his half hour. So like any of them, if I could get on any of the ground swells with that, or I have a couple of friends that are really up in the stratosphere right now with the liberal redneck shit, like Trey and those guys. I went to a show of theirs in New York to support it. And then I get there, and it's a line around the block. And I was like, oh, I don't need to support this. And they had to come get me into the green room. It was insane. Like, those guys, yeah, their fans are incredible. I'm a huge, I'm a roast culture denier. I live in New York, where roast culture is like a thing that clubs will do to get you in the door. There's no like audition process. You just do a roast in front of people, and then you can start working the club. I just think that's so ass backwards. I think roasts are such a celebratory thing that has taken this like comedy rap battle aspect to them. It's like I don't want to listen to rappers rap battle. I just want to listen to rappers. And it's like I feel the same way with comedians. Like, I don't want to see comedians roast. I would like to see comedians do comedy. Like, what's the best rap battle album? What's like I know they're palpable and fun, and you watch them and you're like, wow, what a fun, cool thing. But like, yeah, I don't really identify with it. I am pretty pure stand-up. I mean, I've written on stuff, I've written for stuff. I enjoy all those mediums, but then I see people who like that's their everything, and I go, well, it's not mine, and it feels disrespectful to like dip my toe in it when I'm like have no intention of doing it. It's kind of the same way I feel about stand-up. Like, if people are like, they like doing it, but they're like, oh, I just do it every once in a while. It's like, that's fine, but just like understand that it's some people's everything. And that's how I feel about all those other mediums. So I don't really, if someone asks me to do something, I'll do it, but like, I don't actively do it. Well, I'm really happy in New York. I'm really happy to be there. I would not rather be anywhere else. Like I always say, if this is my life for the rest of my life, I'll be a very happy man. So anything that happens, I am very privileged to be a part of, and I'm just kind of trying to put myself in positions for opportunities. So I don't really care. Like, where do I see myself? I'm in line for some stuff, but like, if it doesn't happen, it'll be the next thing. Like, hopefully I'm in line for like late night stuff. Hopefully if 5 years, hopefully I'm doing half hours. Hopefully I'm Comedy Central. But like, if that doesn't happen, maybe something else will happen. I'm just happy to be doing comedy. just recently added a middle name to my name because there's an actor in LA named Jake Head who was in SAG. So anywhere you Google Jake Marshall Head, that'll be me. Twitter at Jake Marshall. I think on Twitter I'm just at Jake Head _. Facebook Jake Marshall Head. Instagram I think it's Jake Marshall Head. I just love when comedy is impressive, when you see stand-up comedy and you enjoyed it, and it's more than just like someone being funny. Like I like it when it's like it feels like art. When it feels like art, when you do well enough that you're like more than when the act is bigger than a person, I love that. So like when it's, I don't know, when you just feel like you consumed something. That's kind of pretentious, but I don't know. I like when it's really, when you really got to like see something. Hi, I'm Jake Marshall Head. Check out my interview on thecutiepie.com.